The battlefield roared as steel and magic collided in chaos. Spells detonated in mid-air, splintering the clouds with flashes of crimson, gold, and violet. Heat rippled across the plains as if the sky itself might crack under the force, while the ground trembled beneath the thunder of countless armored feet. Opposing armies met like waves crashing against a jagged shore. Above it all, two generals lifted their hands. A single synchronized gesture and chaos was unleashed. On one side, 300 soldiers held their line with clockwork precision. They stood like carved pieces on a board, ranks immaculate, spacing exact. Banners snapped precisely in the wind as orders cascaded down the formation. Shields locked together, second-rank mages adjusted their focus stones in perfect unison. The very air bent beneath their collective casting. At the rear, their king, protected behind layer upon layer of defensive magic, remained untouched, an immovable prize. They seemed inevitable, unstoppable. Across the field, the opposing force surged like a storm breaking. 1,000 soldiers pressed forward in fractured formations. Some lunged, others stumbled in the mud, churned by arcane bombardment. Armor plates rattled in dissonant percussion, and magic erupted without coordination, violent bursts lighting the battlefield like broken fireworks. Discipline faced disorder, precision faced panic. They weren't just fighting each other, they were fighting themselves. Yet still they came, a tide of mismatched colors and reckless courage. Their charge rolled like thunder. The first collision struck like a landslide, a flash of red light that shattered the air. Then nothing. 200 soldiers shifted as one, their disciplined lines contracting and countering with mechanical grace. Mages unleashed spells in perfect rhythm, carving clean holes through the attackers. Commands rippled outward like a heartbeat. Attack, defend, shift. Their line flexed but never broke. Within minutes, the larger army collapsed. Ranks splintered under pressure, smoke drifted across the plains, turning the air thick and grey. It was a clash fit for legends, where rivers ran red, empires fell into dust, and gods themselves paused to mark the turning point of history. If it were real, if blood mattered here. But this was Gira, the general's game. Is he actually doing that again? A student muttered from the back of the viewing room. Laughter rippled through the assembled cadets. Pawns can't handle a knight's blade, much less dent a rook's armor, a girl scoffed, tugging her uniform collar loose. They're filler pieces, he's just feeding them to the slaughter. I thought Gira was supposed to test strategy, another complained. Blake, please tell me Fortis isn't wasting our entire afternoon again. Blake, a tall, muscular cadet with dark hair combed back and sharp grey eyes, stood without shifting. His spotless uniform and rigid posture made him easy to spot. He shrugged. Don't look at me. I stopped pretending to understand his tactics years ago. A few students rose, grumbling about wasted time. He's never won a match, one snorted. Why bother watching? Because he never plays the same way twice, another replied quietly. It's like he's trying to lose in a new fashion each time. That drew fresh laughter, but not everyone left. Some remained watching, waiting. Fortis sat at the far platform, lean and wiry, his dark hair spiking with sweat. A peculiar timepiece encircled his wrist, its face showing only month and day. The hour and minute hands were gone. The top 3 buttons of his navy uniform hung open, and his grey undershirt showed beneath, the edges of his jacket fluttering with each gesture. Charge, he called, the word slicing through the hall like a sword. His pawns lurched forward. The first wave was annihilated in bursts of magic and swordfire. The second wave met the same fate. Pawns shattered like glass under the enemy's spells, but Fortis only smiled. Opposite him, Kaiser's fists clenched. The Academy's third-ranked strategist wore a perpetual scowl. His rolled-up sleeves revealed a pulsing mana brand on his forearms. His flawless army pressed the advantage with zero wasted motion. Yet at last, his patience snapped. "Stop wasting my time," Kaiser roared, slamming his hand onto his board. His rooks and bishops pivoted in perfect unison, pressing the attack. Fortis's forces lay in ruins, pawns burned, armor shattered, lines broken. He should have conceded. Everyone expected it. But he sat back, grinning. "Now," he murmured. The projection's ground rippled. Fallen pawns rose again at his command, sprinting forward in gleaming knight armor. Kaiser's eyes widened. You hid knights among your pawns, he sputtered. Hard to tell a few hundred from 1,000 when they're packed together, Fortis said, grinning fiercely. The simulation reignited, spells detonating, shields locking, both armies engulfed in new chaos. Uncertainty reigned for a heartbeat, then Kaiser reacted. Tortoise formation, he ordered, massive shields locked into a reinforced dome around his king. Even if you reach me, try breaking through that, he snarled. Fortis leaned back, serene amid the clamor. His last knight drew a queen's blade, wrapped in shimmering magic. Kaiser froze. I didn't say I only had knights, Fortis shouted. From behind his lines, Fortis's queen, swifter than sight, raced forward in a streak of gold and white. She appeared at the barrier's largest fissure, blade already pulsing with energy. Lightning bolt, the queen's command thundered through the hall as her sword ignited in a blinding current. With a crack like thunder, the barrier shattered and struck Kaiser's king square in the chest. The projection collapsed, silence fell. Then the system's mechanical voice filled the room. Victory, Fortis. Fortis didn't move for a moment. Then he threw back his head and laughed. Ha 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 ha. My first official victory. The viewing room remained still, no applause, no cheers, just stunned air and the hum of cooling projectors. Kaiser stood rigid, color draining from his face. That's not fair. You cheated, Kaiser accused, voice raw. Fortis shrugged, eyes glinting. Cheated? Where exactly are the rules against modifying armor? Same resources, same system. You just walked into it. How dare you? Kaiser began, but magic crackled between his hands as he gathered a lethal aura. The air thickened. Fortis's grin vanished. He swallowed hard. Oh, shoot. Before the surge could strike, a harsh siren cut through the hall. Red emergency lights bathed the walls. Students, all units form ranks and report to the main hub immediately, roared an automated voice. The laughter died. Even Kaiser's spell sputtered out. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then the viewing room erupted into motion. Nexus Academy, the crown jewel of mercy, hadn't sounded an alarm in years. Encircled by 7 iron fortifications etched with glowing runes and guarded by arcane watchtowers, it stood as the kingdom's ultimate martial forge. Yet beneath its tranquil courtyards and enchanted skies, readiness never slackened. Tonight that purpose stirred at last. The sirens faded, leaving a static tension. Hundreds of students assembled in the main hub, their uniforms ghosted by arcane light. Conversations were reduced to hushed whispers. After the king's crown, 7 rings remained, 3 for royalty, 4 for Mercy's top generals. Almost every bearer had emerged from Nexus. Fortis shifted beside Blake. Maybe they're announcing the new JIRA simulation. Blake kept his gaze on the blank projection screens. Nobody triggers emergency protocols for software updates. But they say the new system replicates a crown's abilities, Fortis argued. It's supposed to be indistinguishable from the real thing. Blake exhaled. You never read the room, do you? Before Fortis could reply, Blake's gaze caught on a ripple in the crowd. Well, that's something you don't see often. Heads turned, a murmur rolled through the students. Is that Rizzle? And Luna, someone whispered. Even Fortis straightened. The young prince stood tall among the students, every inch composed. His gold-trimmed uniform caught the light like a flame. Golden hair brushed neatly to the side, warm eyes carrying quiet confidence. Despite the tense atmosphere, his smile remained soft, genuine, even. Beside him walked Luna, daughter of the Grand Duke, pale and distant as moonlight. Her eyes flicked over the room without interest, long silver hair falling straight down her back, as if nothing here could truly hold her attention. Didn't think the top 2 would show up, a cadet muttered. They usually keep to their own drills. Rizzle inclined his head politely as whispers followed him, while Luna's expression remained fixed. Why are we even here? She said flatly. I was testing something. They could have sent an announcement through the intercoms. Now, Rizzle chuckled, the kind of easy laughter that disarmed without trying. Maybe this is their way of reminding us we still belong to the same academy. Besides, there might be someone here worth your attention. Unlikely. Luna folded her arms. You already stand above everyone else. Rizzle only smiled, patient as always. And still learning, he said. Their entrance hushed the room again. Then the main doors swung open. An elderly man stepped through the doors. Iron-grey hair pulled tight behind his head framed a face lined with scars, unreadable beneath years of war and command. His uniform hung heavy with medals that gleamed even in the dim light. Commander Creus, base overseer of Nexus, one of the 7 ring-bearers and among the greatest military minds Mercy had ever produced. He moved to the raised platform and swept his gaze across the crowd. When he lifted his right hand, his ring gleamed in the space before him. Each student seemed to shrink slightly beneath its light. The ring pulsed once. The air changed not visibly, not exactly, but every student felt it. Pressure, authority, command. It settled over them like physical weight. Even Rizzle and Luna fell silent as the general's ring activated. When Creus spoke, his voice carried without effort. The 7th Battalion has fallen. No preamble, no build-up. Just 5 words that shattered the Academy's very